Hello everyone, this is Dr. Rajitha. Welcome to Anatomy channel. Today we shall learn about hypothalamus, which is a part of Diencepahlon. And components of Diencepahlon we learned in our previous session along with the thalamus. So today we shall see about the hypothalamus. Hypothalamus is below the thalamus, which is separated by a sulcus called as hypothalamic sulcus. Hypothalamus is a very small area and which weighs approximately around 4 grams in weight, present in both cerebral hemispheres and separated by means of a cavity, that is third ventricle. It makes around 0.3% of total brain mass. So the size of the hypothalamus is very small, but it makes a huge functional importance because every activity in our body is influenced by hypothalamus. It controls 3 systems in our body like autonomic nervous system, endocrine system and limbic system. As it is controlling the autonomic nervous system, Sherrington regarded hypothalamus as head ganglion of autonomic nervous system. So we shall see now the anatomy of hypothalamus. Coming to the boundaries of hypothalamus, anteriorly it is bounded by lamina terminalis. Lamina terminalis is the anterior boundary which extends from the optic chiasma till the anterior commissure, and posteriorly it is bounded by the subthalamus, and superiorly it is separated from the thalamus by means of hypothalamic sulcus, and inferiorly it is related to optic chiasma, tubus cinereum which continues as infundibulum and pituitary gland, and mammillary body having mammillary nucleus. So all these are the parts of floor of third ventricle which are actually belongs to hypothalamus. So these structures forms the inferior boundary, and medial boundary of the hypothalamus, it is related to the third ventricle, forming the lateral wall of third ventricle, and also it forms floor of third ventricle. Laterally it is related to internal capsule. Now let's see about the regions of hypothalamus. For descriptive purpose, hypothalamus is divided into 4 regions. The 4 regions are preoptic region, which is just in front of the optic chiasma, and next supraoptic region which is present above the optic chiasma, tuberal region which is above the tubus cinereum and around the infundibulum, and mammillary region which includes the mammillary bodies and around it. So these are the 4 regions: preoptic region, supraoptic region, tuberal region and mammillary region. Let's see the nuclei of hypothalamus. Hypothalamus consists of several small collections of grey matter which are called as nuclei, and in these regions we can name the nucleus. The first nucleus here, it is preoptic nucleus. Preoptic nucleus and preoptic region, it is present actually morphologically in the Diencepahlon, but functionally it is related to hypothalamus. The next is the supraoptic nucleus. Supraoptic nucleus is present above the optic chiasma. There are 3 nuclei in supraoptic region. One is supraoptic nucleus, anterior nucleus, and the last one above is the paraventricular nucleus. Coming to the tuberal region also consists of 3 nuclei. The nucleus which is arching along the infundibulum and near the tubus cinereum. This is like an arc, so it is called as arcuate nucleus, which is also called as infundibular nucleus because it is along the infundibulum. And above to which there is a nucleus called as ventromedial nucleus, and dorsally the dorsomedial nucleus. And in the mammillary region there are 2 nuclei. Then is mammillary nucleus, and above to which posterior nucleus. So these nuclei present in the medial part of the hypothalamus. In the lateral part of the hypothalamus, there is a large nucleus which is present all around the hypothalamus from anterior to posterior, which is called as lateral nucleus. So because it is present all through the hypothalamus, we cannot represent here in this picture. Now we shall continue with the connections of hypothalamus. So this is the schematic picture to show the connections of hypothalamus. We know this hypothalamus has got several nuclei which has got afferents and efferents, and the connections of hypothalamus are quite complex. Now we are going to discuss only the important connections to hypothalamus. Starting with the afferents, the mammillary bodies receives the afferents from the hippocampus via fornix, and preoptic nucleus and anterior hypothalamic nucleus receives afferents from amygdaloid nucleus via stria terminalis, and lateral hypothalamic nucleus, which is present on the lateral zone of hypothalamus all through the hypothalamus, is called lateral hypothalamic nucleus. It receives afferents from spinal cord and brainstem via the mammillary peduncle. And let's see other afferents to the hypothalamus. From autonomic nervous system and limbic system are connected to hypothalamus by means of medial forebrain bundle. And thalamus to hypothalamus, the track is called as thalamo-hypothalamic tract, and from subthalamus to hypothalamus called as subthalamo-hypothalamic tract, and from corpus striatum to hypothalamus is called as pseudo-hypothalamic tract. So these are the afferents reaching the hypothalamus. And apart from these afferents, the nerve cells present in the hypothalamus act as chemoreceptors and baroreceptors and thermoreceptors. The blood which is circulating in and around the hypothalamus, and from the blood the cells will detect these changes and maintain the homeostasis of their body. And let's see the efferents of hypothalamus. Efferents of hypothalamus from the mammillary bodies to the thalamus, it is called as mammillothalamic tract, which goes to the anterior nucleus of thalamus. From the mammillary bodies to the reticular formation, the tract is called as mammillotegmental tract. And efferents from the lateral hypothalamic nucleus, which are the descending fibers reaching the spinal cord and brainstem. So these are some of the important efferents of hypothalamus. I hope you like my session. Please like, share, subscribe, and don't forget to press the bell button for further notifications.